Guys, welcome to this week's episode of Investor Intelligence, brought to you by the team at the Property Mentors. It is your weekly podcast for all things investment and hosted by me, Phoebe Sikowski-Wallace. Now, here at the Property Mentors, aside from mentoring our members to invest and build wealth successfully, another major part of what we provide is top quality property management. Now, I'd say that the vast majority of people who have lived out of home would have at least some degree of experience with property managers and know at least, the basics of what they do, such as collecting rent and doing routine inspections. But being an investment podcast, and I really want to continue to highlight just how important the service is and how a good property manager can really make your life a hell of a lot easier when it comes to your investment properties. So today I've got a firecracker of a guest. Rachel Smith is our incredibly vibrant assistant property manager. So over a year ago, she was taken under the wing of our powerhouse director of property management, Renee, who I spoke to a while ago and has 20 years of experience behind her. So safe to say Rachel has been taught only by the best. So I asked Rachel to sit down with me this week because to me and to so many others, she really is the definition of going above and beyond as a professional. So I wanted to talk to her about that today and what that means to her, the benefit of working for a sort of more boutique agency, and really what to look for in a property manager overall. So I hope you enjoy. Here's Rachel. So Rachel Smith, thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Thanks, Phoebe. Thanks for having me.
So let's start off with a bit about you and you sort of prior to your time here at the Property Mentors. Tell me a little bit about maybe your career journey up until now.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, gosh, where do I start? I've been a little bit here, there, everywhere. Essentially, I always wanted to be a flight attendant because I realized I liked customer service, but I wanted to travel. Loved the uniform. Mm-hmm. It's a big selling point for me. And I actually got a bank teller position. And I was there for quite a few years, traveling around different branches, and again, picked up a lot of the customer service role there, a little bit of the sales side as well. Wasn't particularly passionate about the sales side in banking, but I really did enjoy my time there, and I learned a lot. And I guess from there I moved on and sort of found myself in hospitality because my brother is a chef, but I ended up getting the chance working with my brother at a restaurant in Brighton, and that just... I realized how I love cooking. So my passion, I guess, with the food and the cooking and working with my brother, we're close, thankfully, which made work very fun. And it was just huge. And there was so much to it. I thought, oh my God, this is it. This is what I'm meant to be doing. I'm meant to be connecting with people and running around on the floor smiling. And this is what I'm meant to do. But there is so much more to just working in a restaurant than connecting with people. Little did I realize at the time, there was a lot to juggle in such a space and when we got busy, oh my gosh, it was full on. And I guess that really taught me self-awareness, how to move quickly, so many situations and scenarios happening at once. There's a disaster in the kitchen, there's 5 angry customers on the floor, and there's 10 happy ones, and people want you and need you. Being short-staffed and having to multitask in such a high-intensity environment is definitely what I picked up in the industry. So I really am grateful for all of that. And I do believe, the people skills are something that I always had a natural ability for, but this, I guess, connecting with multiple different personalities, you don't have a choice. You can't choose your people that walk in, and you have to adapt and work with individuals and connect. You still somehow find a connection with them and they walk away happy. And I think that was what I really loved about it, the people side of everything.
So you'd say you've always kind of been in the customer success realm, though?
100%. Yeah. So I definitely I love that side of things. I just love people and having different relationships with people and connecting with them, and customer service was just always what I was trained to. Again, I feel like it was a natural part of me, and then I realized how much it sort of fed my soul. I guess you could say. And I enjoyed it. It didn't feel like work when you could work with people. And that's what gives me sort of life and light, I think.
That's really nice to hear. So how would you describe, in your own words, how would you describe your role now, and what kind of drew you to it?
Oh, wow. This is funny enough, actually, through my hospitality experience, working with a lot of high-end businesses, especially when I was in the Brighton area. Lots of real estate was sort of floating around quite a lot. It always came up, and I always got that, lovely comment or compliment. You should work in real estate. You'd be great because you're good with people. I was like, oh gosh, no, I couldn't do that. And I couldn't see myself selling or working in that kind of environment. Not that I knew a lot about it, and it was just that stereotypical thoughts, I suppose. A lot of pressure, and it just didn't seem like something I'd ever get into or like. But here I am now. So what I have found coming into this role, which I will admit I'm so grateful to get this opportunity. It came out of lockdown. I was sort of in the hospitality side of things still, and I needed a change. And, through a friend, this opportunity came up, and I was a bit like, okay, all right, I'm open to it. Years have passed where, I've heard other different stories about property. I'm a bit more open-minded now. I'm ready for a challenge, again, especially what we've all been through with the lockdowns and COVID. And I thought, why not give it a try? And did the training, which was, thankfully for me, work provided, again, all the portals of training, which is great and I'm grateful for. And I've been fortunate enough coming into this role and this position, and the mentor that I have has been nothing but amazing. Renee, who has been teaching me, she has been a property manager for 20 years now. And having me under her wing, I couldn't be more grateful. And I will admit, since I've come into the field and even prior, I have heard some horror stories. Unfortunately, with property management, people, when I say, if someone asks me, what are you doing now, Rachel? Oh, I'm a property manager. Ooh.
When Renee was on the podcast, I even had just a cheeky dig at other property managers that I've personally dealt with in the past. But it's the reason I wanted to get both of you on here to actually talk about and show what good quality property managers do.
That's lovely.
So how many properties do you and Renee manage at the moment?
I think we've just hit 100.
Big milestone.
It's definitely growing, which is fantastic. But again, some people might hear that number and go, oh, that's not a lot.
Yeah. Well, I guess we are more so a bit of a boutique agency, but what does that mean to you sort of in the property managing realm?
What I have discovered, again, being a newbie, I will say, well, it's been a year now. I'm a proud, strong property manager. But throughout the time of me learning and discovering what I'm finding out being a part of a boutique agency compared to, other real estate agents is our high level of service. It's incredible. And the relationship, I think what I have found out is that there seems to be not a lot of communication with property managers, with their rental providers. It's which is really unfortunate. And me coming in and learning off Renee, I've been able to, I guess, what I'm bringing into that customer service that I love, that I do know, and that I'm so passionate about. It's the same thing. I'm just sort of doing a little bit different, but I am on the floor. I am dealing with customers, but I'm not essentially on the floor, but it's their home. I want to look after you, and we want you to leave with a smile. And that's just what I feel like we do at a boutique agency. And I'm bringing that level of customer service and that element, what I am so passionate about, and we're bringing that into the real estate industry within our little boutique agency, and it's great. I'm very proud of that. So I guess, as I mentioned, we have 100 properties. A lot of, different agencies will have a lot more than that. They might have 400, 600, 200. You might have one property manager looking after 200 properties. We look after the smaller amount. So there's two of us looking after 100. Therefore, if you do the maths, that's an incredible level of service and communication. It's not even just about service, but we can communicate and we can answer our phones. We can get back to an email or a text message very, very quickly. And, it's just that level of difference. I've noticed, and again, being a tenant, I can see the difference. I've had issues. I don't hear anything back. And these are the horror stories you hear with property management. There is no communication and lack of service. And I feel that's what we deliver. That's all we do.
Yeah. So you basically have the ability to attend any properties that need certain assistance. You're essentially able to give 4 times the amount of service that people who are looking after 200 properties, because you're looking after a quarter of that. So you're kind of more available. You're able to maybe you can comment on this, build better relationships with them.
Definitely better relationships, strong relationships too. We are more contactable. We have the ability to attend any properties that need certain assistance, and we are able to build better quality relationships with our rental providers and renters. And, that's the beauty in working for a boutique agency.
It's probably one of the reasons that I've had so many problems with my personal property managers in the past, is that I think they've been looking after too many properties, and therefore they are hard to contact. They're sometimes notoriously known because they're just so hard to get onto. But the fact that you guys look after a smaller cohort really benefits our renters and our rental providers. Yeah. So because you've built these relationships with the rental providers and the renters, you've actually been able to help Lease without advertising. Can you talk to that a little bit?
So this is incredible. I find, again, this comes down to the time that we have with communication and the service and the relationship we have with the rental providers and the tenants. We obviously have fantastic software that we can, keep the information of prospective tenants that didn't get the property they desired. Again, this comes down to us having, I guess, more time and those strong relationships that we have with the rental providers. We want to save the money if we can. Like, that's the beauty of what we do. If we can go, hey, we've got this person, we can actually save you money by not advertising. What do you think? And we can, do all the correct things, that obviously reference checks and application process. And that's what we're hired to do. We're still going to do all the right things by sussing the prospective tenant out, the renter out, and do all the protocols to make sure they are the right candidate. But if we essentially have somebody on the books that we can get in there, we'll do that for them. We're not going to charge them something for advertising if we have the facilities and we already have people ready to go. We know, we'll give that a go first before we actually slam people with a fee. And it's pretty incredible that we're able to do that, because we have those, again, the relationships, the time, and that level of service that we can provide. And it's real and it's genuine.
Yeah, I think that's really rare. And I did talk to Renee about this when I had her on the podcast lately, but so I know a lot of rental providers like to try and manage their properties on their own to sort of save a few bucks here and there. But in your opinion, what is the difference does it make having a good property manager by your side?
So it makes a huge difference, because I think I've heard horror stories of friends who have their investments, and they're like, I'll just do this and look after them. And by all means, there are some good outcomes.
Sure.
You can have a great relationship they can have a great relationship with the tenant, and there's no issues, and it's fine. but, you know, there are always risks and, you know, things can drag out. If you know, everyone can do their best by doing the reference checks and, you know, getting the right person, which we're really strong about, but you still don't know them. You don't know their personal life. You know, can there be issues occurring within the property that are ignored and they don't get checked? If you are looking after it yourself, a part of our service is obviously doing routine inspections. You know, we do it within the first 3 months. So little things, I guess, like maintaining the property, doing routine inspections. So essentially we are doing this stuff day in, day out. With all the new legislations changing so often, you know, that's part of our job. We are the first to know and we have to be all over that. Rental providers might not be on top of that, you know, on top of everything else that they've got to do in their day-to-day life. It is something they're not going to think to check or be aware of. And this is where, you know, incidents can occur.
Yeah, and if they miss something, that can end up maybe, I don't know, it could be really dangerous for someone or it could end up costing them something. So that's what you guys are there for.
100%. It could cost the rental provider a lot more than in a small fee in having the service of a property manager with the level of our service that we offer. Anything can go wrong. Yeah. And so many things do go wrong. And that's, again, what we are there for. We deal with different things every single day, especially with Body Corp and, you know, whether things are in warranty or not, and like issues with air cons and leaks and pipe blow-ups. It's like we're the middleman. We have the army and the right connections with the people that we send out to these jobs straight away, firsthand.
You're also looking at applications all the time, so you would start to really pick up on what makes a good renter and maybe what doesn't as well.
Oh, absolutely. Looking at and having things, you know, having socials like Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn, we can look at, we're like investigators. We have to look up people. We want to make sure if I have an investment property, I want to make sure the right person's going in there, and we do the same.
Yeah, exactly right. So, Rachel, within your role, what would you say it means to go above and beyond?
Again, absolute trust and communication is such a huge thing. What's a little example I could give you? And again, this is taught by the lovely Renee and was gifted to me by the lovely Renee. She gave me a beautiful little kit with all these little cute cleaning products. It had, you know, Dettol wipes, Glen 20, like chucks, cloth, all that kind of like just basically a cleaning kit. That's in my car at all times. So, and I'm on the road a lot in my car, going to inspections, doing condition reports. You know, I might go in there, the property may have been cleaned, that's fine, but not everyone does a perfect job. I'm going in there to assess the area, and I'm going to then do the condition report for the rental provider and the renter. So if I see a mark that looks like it can come off, well, hey, I've got my kit. It doesn't need to be in the photo. It doesn't need to be reported, and I can give it a clean. It could be, you know, unfortunately, if there is a toilet, I'm going to do it because it's there and I'm loyal to the game.
That is loyalty at its finest.
You know, again, I'm from hospitality. I'm tough. I've had to clean many toilets and bathrooms. So it's not an issue. You know, that's essentially I walk in there and this is my home and I need to make it perfect. And I'm going to set it up for not only, again, the renter, but the rental provider, and that level of service. Maintaining the garden. Renee has gone out and picked weeds. I've done it with her. I've done it individually. It's just, again, it might be such a minor thing. I don't need a gardener, but we want to save the money. And again, we want to build that relationship. Hey, you got some weeds there. It's not great. How about I do it for you? And then it's ready and they appreciate it. We're capable of it. And we just hope, again, that's just that extra, it's just us being genuine and real. We don't expect anything from that. It's just that relationship. And that's all we come from that world, and that's all we want out of it. And hopefully it's valued because we value it. Basically, people invest a lot in their investment properties. It's only fair we invest our time in them.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to look at it. So to wrap up, Rachel, and I asked this to Renee as well, but it's always good to hear what other property managers think. But what should people look for in a property manager?
That's a great question, because I actually have a great analogy that I went to a property management seminar. Thanks to work for sending me there, which it was incredible. But, we discussed, people's relationships with their property managers. And there's actually a bit of a study out there, would you believe it or not, that when I guess someone is purchasing a new vehicle, for example, it can take a lot of time. They're test driving, they're spending quite a lot of, ifs and buts, and is this going to be the right one? The color is a huge decision, the color. And, what a car can vary between 60,000, 80,000, but there's a lot of time deciding the commitment and what they're going to choose. You have your investment property, which again varies in price, always a lot more than a vehicle. And people are very quick to just sign up on a really small fee. Look after my property that costs $100,000 to $1 million, and I want the cheapest property manager without any service, without the communication. Which this is what they're obviously not aware, that these fees, people just, I think, unfortunately, with the stereotype of service out there with property managers, it's, I'll just get the service, but I guess it's not really expected what the service is going to be. I don't think people realize once they have a property manager, do they even know? Are they even aware? Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of investors out there, I'm sure, do know, but it's quite amazing. There's people out there that have doctors. That means a lot to them. They might have the same relationship with their doctor since they were little until they are in their 50s. From babies to adults, they have the same doctor because that's what they were grown up with. Imagine having your first investment property and you have your first property manager, and you want your next investment property. You want the same property manager because they've been so great. They've been like your family doctor. And you want that relationship with them. You want to have that connection. You want to have that teamwork together, that rapport, the expertise and the knowledge. And imagine that relationship that can flow through, that is personable at that stage. It is genuine and it's real. And it's someone that's always going to carry that. That's your home, and you want that looked after. And you want it with someone that is like a friend as well. That's the relationship that we try to, I guess, bring, and that level of service. And that's what we want to deliver, and you hope that that's what investors are looking for too, that commitment, that loyalty, that trust, that love and value from both parties.
I think that's really well said. And I think as a person and as a professional, to me, you really are the definition of going above and beyond. I'm not kidding with that.
Oh, thank you.
You are just such a joy to have around the office, and I know your renters and your rental providers think the exact same, because we're constantly getting so much feedback about how much of a joy you are. But Rachel, please don't. But Rachel, thank you so much for taking time to sit down with me today.
Thank you, Phoebe. It's been so lovely to sit here and speak to you and about what I love. This is great. Thank you so much.
Guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as I enjoyed sitting down and chatting with the wonderful Rachel. If you would like to know any more about us here at the Property Mentors, including our above and beyond property management team, you can check out our website, thepropertymentors.com.au. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, both the podcast, the Property Mentors, and in addition, Rachel's property management Instagram, which is very, very entertaining. All three handles are linked in our show notes, along with all of our other socials, including a link to our blog. Guys, I say it every week, but if you are ready to take your investment seriously, you need to get your hands on a copy of Luke's latest book, Property Fit, which is full of insightful information to really help you up your education. So you can get your hands on a copy of that at propertyfitbook.com.au. If you found this episode or any of our episodes helpful, please make sure to share and leave a rating. It really helps us reach more people on their investing journeys. And make sure to subscribe because it just notifies you when our episodes drop. Make sure to tune in next week as we'll be dropping another informative FAQ episode with Luke. Until then, thank you so much for listening, and I will be back in your ears again next week. Investor Intelligence provides general information only. You should consider seeking independent advice to see how this information relates to your unique circumstances. Please refer to the terms and conditions available at investorintelligence.com.au for more.